Okay, this video is about Dr. Esselstyn and flax. Flax is moving its way up in the ranks to become as annoying of a food as soy. And I get comments from my viewers, oh, you're misrepresenting Dr. Esselstyn if you don't say that he promotes flax. Everyone knows that flax is so wonderful. And I'm like, yeah, right, BS. Okay, first of all, here's the book by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, his famous book, and it's a great book. It's a masterpiece, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. It was published, written in 2007. There's no mention of flax in there. I never recalled him saying anything about flax. I went back and looked at my book. I have a copy of it. Flax is not in the index. I'm not aware of flax being in that book, okay? I went to the Dr. Esselstyn course in Cleveland. I think it was in 2015. He never once said the word flax. All this stuff about flax has come up more recently. So I looked up flax at 60% fat. As far as I'm concerned, any food with 60% fat is automatically bad. Fat is always atherogenic, meaning it causes atherosclerosis. Fat is always obesogenic, meaning it causes a person to become fat, to gain weight. Like Dr. McDougall said, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And the more fat you eat, the more likely you are to gain weight and be fat. It's just a fact, okay? Let's see what else. Flax is a little bit high in protein. It's 14%. I try to keep my protein as low as possible. The animals that have lower protein, they live longer in longevity studies. You can calorie restrict, but you get the same effect pretty much if you just protein restrict. So it's good to have low protein. Flax has lots of omega-3 PUFAs, and that's promoted as one of its great things. And even the famous experts like Dr. Greger say, oh, isn't it wonderful? Flax has so much omega-3s, ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. Well, they also say that you can't just eat the flax seeds or you'll poop them out. They won't get digested. You can't eat the oil because that's pure fat and that's bad for you. So they say you should take the seeds and grind them up. Well, once you grind up those seeds at room temperature, you increase their risk of lipid peroxidation to undergo those chemical reactions that can lead to toxic aldehydes. That's a well-known problem. So you better eat them real fast. And even in your gut, your body temperature, they're PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, with at least 3 double bonds. Okay, so they're a pretty high risk to undergo lipid peroxidation. That's bad. I don't like that. Dr. Esselstyn, yeah, he says no flax oil, grind the O3 seeds. They say one of the benefits is you get fiber, but who cares? You can get tons of fiber from other plant foods. Dr. Esselstyn says, well, flax is a way to get omega-3. Well, you get plenty of omega-3 from low-fat plant foods. That's already been proven and shown. Dr. McDougall says you'll get all the omega-3s you need, even if you're pregnant or any other time of life, just from eating low-fat plant foods. So there's no reason to eat that. We know omega-3 supplements are associated with increased risk of atrial fibrillation. Well, how are you going to improve your cardiovascular health if you eat something that increases your risk of AFib? We know that omega-3 supplements increase the risk of prostate cancer. Well, gee, why would they do that? Well, gee, estrogenic things increase the risk of prostate cancer. Well, if they increase the risk of prostate cancer, do they increase the risk of breast cancer? I've never seen a study that says that, but I would be worried until proven otherwise. If something's increasing the risk of prostate cancer, that would suggest there's a good chance it's estrogenic. That would suggest that there's a good chance it increases breast cancer risk. We know that flax is off the charts high in estrogenic chemicals, these lignans, phytoestrogens, okay? Much higher in estrogenic chemicals than soy, even though soy are a little bit different types. Soy are more isoflavone type. These are more lignin type estrogenics. Some lignans can function as insecticides. Well, gee, doesn't that sound familiar? It was thought in soy that some of their estrogens were to function as insecticides. If an animal eats you and you're pissed off and sick and tired of the animal eating you, well, maybe you can secrete a chemical that makes the animal infertile. Maybe you can secrete a chemical that makes the animal hypothyroid, and maybe that damn animal will stop eating you. Okay? Well, gee, soy does that. Maybe flax is doing the same thing, huh? I wonder about that. Seems pretty likely to me. Omega-3 supplements are associated with immune suppression. Well, gee, do you want to suppress your immune system? I'm not liking the sound of this. Okay, all types of fat increase risk of atherosclerosis, according to Dr. McDougall, according to the David Blankenhorn study, according to everything I've read. Like Nathan Pritikin said, fat is bad. You're not going to win the game with that. Dr. McDougall, David Blankenhorn, the only way to reduce atherosclerosis is to reduce intake of all types of dietary fat. Walter Kempner's patients were doing fantastic. They were eating minuscule amounts of fat, less than 5%. I forget the exact amount, in the ballpark, 4% or something like that. Some say that flax lowers blood pressure by lowering levels of arachidonic acid. Well, arachidonic acid comes from animal foods. All you need to do is avoid animal foods and you lower your dietary intake of arachidonic acid, I wouldn't worry about that. That's kind of like a non-issue. The other thing some of the promoters of flax say, they'll say, well, flax is, not all studies show that flax is beneficial for blood pressure, but the majority do. That's usually what they say when they're trying to BS you with industry-funded studies. They just, if there's 5 studies that say it doesn't make a difference or it's bad, then they just do a bunch, 5 industry-promoted studies to say it's good. And then they go, the majority of studies say it's good. The other thing to watch out for is usually general research tends to not study individual food. So when they say they're studying an individual food, a lot of times that money is coming from the corporations that make the flax. So I'm not too impressed by that. Okay, well, let's keep going. There's more here. Okay, here's Dr. Esselstyn. And yeah, there is something on his website that's new since the days when I paid more attention to him. Okay, and he deserves a Nobel Prize for his work on atherosclerosis, but he's not exactly, he's kind of a one-trick pony, okay, on his atherosclerosis. He's not heavy into biochemistry, molecular biology, and other subjects. And I've never seen him say why flax is so good. I've never seen a paper. I went to Dr. Esselstyn's website, no paper there. I searched on the internet for Dr. Esselstyn and flax, and I couldn't find a specific video about him and flax. Now here's a couple of, genius doctors, and they're both saying how great flax is. So gee, how could I, woe is me, just a stupid old radiologist. How could I think? And here's another. She calls herself the Healthy Family Doctor. She says flax is good for BP. Everybody is saying flax is good for BP. Dr. Berg says flax is good for BP. Everybody says flax is good for BP. The famous, brilliant Dr. Greger says flax is good for blood pressure. But I'm still wondering. There's another thing Dr. Greger said. He says that, yes, there is some cyanide in flax seeds, but it's such a small amount that it's not a big deal. Just like there's a small amount in almonds, but our body can detoxify it. That makes me a little nervous, okay? He says it's an organic molecule, carbon attached to nitrogen. It can react with other organic chemicals. It's biodegradable, and cooking decreases it. So it's no big deal. He says there's not a single report in the entire literature of acute cyanide poisoning from eating flax. And I'm like, well, I still don't like that. He recommends we eat 1 tablespoon of flax every day. Okay. He says countries that recommend people avoid flax because of the cyanide are mistaken. He also recommends people take cyanocobalamin, more cyanide, but he says it's no big deal. Okay. He also says nuts are good, and soy, and caffeine, and MSG, and tea, and coffee, and vasectomy. Kind of like the Nietzsche. Nietzsche said, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. I'm not so sure. I sprained my ankle, and it didn't kill me, but it didn't make me stronger having a sprained ankle. I wonder if accumulating all this cyanide is potentially going to make us tighter. It's a mitochondrial inhibitor. Flax has got estrogenics out the wazoo. It's 60% fat. It's high in protein, and it contains cyanide. Now, why would I want that? Why should I be attracted to that like a bug to a bug zapper? That doesn't sound very appealing to me. I'm just a stupid radiologist. What would I know? Now, I saw this woman, walking down the street, and she looked good. She had that hourglass shape. She had big breasts, and I know the spot where her Virginia was located. My subconscious mind couldn't help but tell me that. And I said to myself, I understand why she has a high estrogen level, and she's put it to good use. She's got the shape that could empty my wallet out pretty fast. But I then took a look at, a soy plant, and I looked at a flax plant. There were no breasts. There was no Virginia. Why in the world would flax and soy have estrogen levels off the charts, many thousands of times higher than other plant foods? If they don't need them for their secondary sexual characteristics, maybe they're using them as a pesticide because they don't want to be eaten. The bear eats some other food, and then apples or whatever the heck it is, and then it poops out the seeds a couple miles down the path in the woods, and you get new apple trees or whatever other plant. But maybe soy and flax don't want to be eaten by the bear or by the insect or by other animals, and it's an estrogenic infertility drug. Okay, look at this. Soy has tons of isoflavones, hundreds of thousands. Super high levels. And then look at this. Flax is like 4 times as high in estrogenic chemicals as soy. Do I really want all those estrogenic chemicals in my body? I don't think so. Oh my goodness, here's an article about lignans, the type of estrogens in soy, having remarkably high insecticidal activity. It's been my experience from the little bit I know about biology that anything that kills insects usually is bad for us too. I wonder, is it really such a great idea? And like I said, about 58%, 60% of the calories coming from fat, so that's going to be obesogenic and likely diabetic-genic, atherogenic, a lot of PUFAs, high risk of lipid peroxidation, especially after you grind it, I would think. Mildly high in protein, that's not such a big deal, but this is looking really bad to me. Okay, and then, oh my goodness, they do use flax as an insecticide. And this is coming from some national site. Flax insect pests. Okay, let's see, what else? Are they spraying insecticide on it? Okay, now here is efficient fermentation. Oh, actually, let me look at that flaxen before. I didn't look at that carefully. There was something about it that made me want to read this, okay? Maybe that's just what they spray on it, but I remember there was something bad about it. But I'll have to look that up again because I'm not sure about that. I'm not really interested in flax. The only reason I'm talking about flax is not because I'm interested in it, but because so many commenters keep bugging me about flax, trying to pretend it's a health food, and it just doesn't sound like it is, and I really could give a rat's tail about flax. Okay, here's another article about the cyanide glycosides in flaxseed. The presence of cyanogenic glycosides in flaxseed severely limits the exploitation of its health benefits and nutritional value. And they said cyanogenic glycosides, are a problem in flax, also in cassava, almond, and sorghum. Okay, flax contains cyanogenic glycosides associated with cyanide. Almonds do too. Why would I want to eat that? Okay, now here's another article saying flax lignans, and they recommend, animal studies suggest that these are bad for pregnant women because they have estrogenic properties. Well, gee, if it's dangerous for a pregnant woman, why would I think it's good for anybody else? We know that whole food, low-fat, plant-based diet is great for a pregnant woman. Why would flax be bad, this high-fat food? Okay, flaxseed and its lignin component during development of rats, mammary structures, it causes early onset puberty. And it also causes longer menstrual cycles. Well, that means that it is having an estrogenic effect on rats. Well, if it has an estrogenic effect on rats, doesn't that mean, given they're so similar to us, these little mammals, that it's going to have an estrogenic effect on us? I'm a macho man. Why would I want to eat estrogenic food? Gee, is it just a coincidence that the high-fat phonies are always promoting estrogenic soy, and now they're always promoting estrogenic flax? Are they trying to sterilize us? I wonder. Okay. Estrogenic properties. Premature puberty. Lengthening menstrual cycles. Okay, more about flaxseed. Okay. It did lower in one study LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol. Gee, that's nice. But in the urine, there was increased thiocyanates, a metabolic degradation product of cyanide. So in your urine, you'll have more detoxified cyanide. How do we know for sure that all the cyanide got detoxified and some of it didn't travel around our body destroying mitochondria? I don't know. But I don't think I want to give it a chance. I'd rather just not eat any cyanide. I don't know about you, but I prefer to not eat any cyanide. Okay, and I don't take cyanocobalamin either. I take methylcobalamin. Okay, here's another article. Flaxseed consumption related to blood pressure. And they said in this study, the flax increased the amount of triglycerides in the blood. Well, that's atherogenic. We don't want that. And it did not change LDL cholesterol. It said for 4 weeks when flaxseed was given, the serum triglycerides were elevated. Well, that doesn't sound good. Another paper. Okay, postprandial hyperlipidemia. Increased triglyceride is atherogenic. Oh, they're just showing it's atherogenic. Okay, that was the purpose of that. Just the triglycerides are atherogenic. Okay, I don't need that. Now, here's a paper showing that the highly estrogenic flax is bad for the thyroid. Okay, when they gave flax to the animals, the flax-given offspring, they had lower T3 thyroid hormone levels. They had higher TSH levels. They basically had a hypothyroid blood labs, okay? So the fluoride animals also were more likely to have inappropriate TSH. Thus, maternal flaxseed diet puts them at risk for hypothyroidism. Well, gee, doesn't that sound familiar? Soy is also goitrogenic, and it's also estrogenic, and it also can cause premature puberty, and it's bad for the reproductive tract. Soy lowers male sperm count. I wonder if flax lowers male sperm count. I'll bet you it does. I don't know if it does, but I'll bet you it does. Given this set of side effects, things that increase the risk of prostate cancer, things that cause premature puberty, things that cause long menstrual cycles, very, very estrogenic, and it's goitrogenic, I'll bet you it lowers sperm counts. I haven't checked that, but I'm just saying these things all go together. Flaxseed oil stimulates gynecomastia, breast development. That's enlargement of the breasts. Now, why the heck would I, as a macho man, want to take something that's got cyanide in it, that, causes female estrogenic effects, might increase the risk of prostate cancer, might make my boobs grow so I get man boobs, moobs? Sounds like something to be avoided, don't you think? Okay, here, a maternal flaxseed diet during lactation while she's breastfeeding alters her milk composition and programs the offspring of the body. The flaxseed during lactation did affect the lipid profile, the fatty tissue, and the sexual function in adulthood, probably due to its hyperestrogen effects. Okay, that's not good. Well, it's making me nervous having a lot, and they had lower uterine weight. That sounds like it's going to affect their fertility levels. Here's another level article, this one coming from, the famous official mouthpieces, and they say flax might be unsafe during pregnancy because it may have hormonal effects, and it may increase the risk of premature birth. Huh. That's interesting. So, what would I know? Other than the fact that it has cyanide, it's super high in fat at 58, about 60%, mildly high in protein. It causes premature puberty, long menstrual cycles, omega-3 supplementations associated with atrial fibrillation, atherogenic, obesogenic, likely, not certain of this one, but probably diabetogenic. I have good reason to say that. What the heck for would I want to take that? And it's an insecticide, so it's probably toxic to humans in other ways we don't even know about. Spare me, okay? Flax, I think I'll take a pass on it.